Governor Newsom signed all these new laws into effect to make it easier to build housing in California. And this channel is all about helping you learn to use those laws. But sometimes you need a little extra help. I hop on the phone and help look at your lot, personally walk you through your project. So I thought it would be fun to look at Gavin Newsom's property in Sacramento County, walk through it and demonstrate how I might help you walk through your project and learn the best strategy based on your goals. I'll show you what tools I use and go through his lot and neighbors on mock pretend calls. So let's welcome our special guest, Gavin Newsom, the governor of California.
Let me thank you for your kind introduction and good evening to those of you joining us virtually tonight. My amazing wife, Jennifer, our first partner in the state of California. Thank you all.
So Governor Newsom, what's your goal with this project? Do you want to generate some rental income? Are you creating a little extra space for yourself and your wife? Are you maybe housing somebody you know, like a relative?
The biggest pressure most families face, that's the issue of housing, in particular housing stability.
That's so cool. That's my mission too, to create more housing in California and reduce the housing shortage. That's why this whole channel exists. So, do you want to build like 1 or 2 units? What did you have in mind?
More than 6,000 new permanent housing units during this pandemic, and ending homelessness one person at a time.
Okay, wow, that is ambitious. These are pretty expensive. What kind of budget do you have in mind?
Billions and billions of dollars.
Billions and billions. Okay, you got a big lot, you got billions of dollars. Let's talk about what you can actually accomplish. While it's true you've signed a lot of laws into effect, like SB9 notably, these laws are complicated, so you might run into some obstacles. Let's dive into the detail and see what's possible on your lot. Keeping in mind your goal is to build as much housing as possible, staying laser focused on solving the housing shortage. One of the first things I look up with any homeowner is going to be the jurisdiction that your property's in. This can be a little confusing because sometimes it's not intuitive based on the city name that you put on your mail. But this property happens to be in a neighborhood in Sacramento County, and there's actually a specific plan for this neighborhood. So in local politics, you often have a general plan that covers the whole neighborhood. It has chapters called elements on all these different parts of being a city, and that's the general plan. And then sometimes a jurisdiction will come out with a specific plan that deals with one specific part of the jurisdiction. There's actually a zoning map in the specific plan where Gavin's property is. Each of the lots has a different color. Most of them are this yellow, residential density 5. And some of the lots we'll be looking at have this green, recreation facilities zoning. Some of these more dark yellow or orange, I don't know what color that is, I'm not a color guy. And these white lots are residential density 1. But what does any of that mean? Well, it depends. The zoning code is defined differently in different parts of California. So the Sacramento County website links to an old specific plan from the 70s, and then it's got a GIS map with some updated code built into it, and I have both of these definitions. So in the old 70s definition, which is down here below, RD5 meant that this land could be like a typical urban subdivision with mostly single-family dwellings. You could build 5 units per acre. So like 5 houses on an acre lot. Gavin's lot is over 6 acres, so you would think that means at least 30 units. And that's before you use SB9, ADUs, anything. It's just normal Subdivision Maps Act. Then the new definition, RD5, that's in the GIS system, which is like their mapping software, it defines it by minimum interior lot size. So you can see that the minimum interior lot has to be 5,200 square feet, with 6,200 square feet for corner lots. And that if it's 8,500 square feet, duplexes are allowed. So this is sort of a similar definition, but defined by the minimum lot size. So you can imagine subdividing that 6-acre lot multiple times, and as long as each of the subdivided lots is over 5,200 square feet, you could potentially build a new dwelling unit on it. Again, this is using the normal Subdivision Maps Act before using SB9 or ADUs. But here's the issue. This is the big lot that we're gonna look at. You see part of it's yellow and part of it's green. That means it's actually got split zoning. 2 different types of zoning apply to this lot, and that's gonna be a bit problematic. When I dive into the GIS map, I can actually see because it's got some recreation parkway zoning and some RD5 zoning, there is already a section of the GIS map that says whether I'm SB9 eligible, and it says I'm not eligible. I strongly suspect this is due to the split zoning and that the GIS map just doesn't know how to handle that. So what I would suggest to Gavin Newsom is that he call the county, even if he weren't the governor. They're going to be really nice and they're going to walk him through what's possible given that split zoning. Is it true that he's not eligible for SB9, or is it just because the software is confused? And remember, even if he's not eligible for SB9, he can still use normal subdivisions to build more housing. And that might be his best outcome. All right, so the county of Sacramento also has an SB9 fact sheet, which is pretty helpful. They've already said if the property is located within a single family residential zone, RD1 through RD10, you should be eligible. And part of that zoning, part of that lot is RD5. So part of that lot could be eligible, but they're saying that the whole lot might not be eligible because it's partially this recreation zoning. Again, we want to look into that, right? Because the neighborhood is in a specific planning area, it's worth checking, are specific plans sometimes exempt? And it says, yeah, most specific plans are fine and can still use SB9. So that's good news. But this split zoning is an issue. As you can see, it's a lot that has different kinds of zoning on one property. The yellow part is RD5, but this big green part is recreation. And the question is, can we develop the RD5 differently than the... If not, what we might want to do is use normal subdivisions to split the RD5 part that's buildable, and then use SB9 on the resulting lots. That might be an option too, depending on the exact size. Okay, so let's talk about the three options that we've kind of got in front of us to build the most housing possible. That's what Gavin wants. We can use the Subdivision Maps Act to do a conventional subdivision. That has nothing to do with SB9 or ADUs. It's all old laws, but it's still a great idea. We can use SB9, except that the county seems to think our lot is ineligible, probably because of the split zoning. So what we want to do is talk to the county about whether that's true or not. Or we can use accessory dwelling units. Accessory dwelling units don't enumerate different kinds of zoning code where you can use them or not. What they say is if you can build a single family dwelling or a multifamily dwelling, you can build at least one ADU. And then there are rules about how you do it. So ADU is definitely an option because there's a single family dwelling on this property. Normal subdivision is probably an option using the old laws and using the Subdivision Maps Act. And SB9 looks like it might not be an option, but I bet with some scratching, we might be able to get the county to make some concessions. Or we could, if we determine that it's not an option because of split zoning, we could use a normal subdivision to split the RD5 away from the recreational zoning. And then we could use SB9 on the resulting RD5 lot. You could imagine that might be possible. It's a little two-step dance. So in your position, Gavin, I would speak to the county planners with a few questions. One, are you eligible for a conventional subdivision based on your RD5 zoning and lot size? If so, how does it interact with your split zoning? And two, is your lot SB9 eligible? The county GIS says no, but you think that part of that lot might still be eligible, and you want to know what's making it ineligible. Depending on the county answers, this will determine how many new homes and lots you may be able to develop, and you really want to know that before diving deeper into the project. Worst case scenario, you're not eligible for SB9 or a normal subdivision, but you can still build a detached ADU and convert part of the existing home into a junior ADU, and that's a great start towards your goal. So if you're thinking that sounds like an amazing call, I've got great news. You can book it with a link that I'll try to put somewhere up here on YouTube. But before you book that call, watch this free video with some of the things that come up very frequently on the calls. You'll get more for your money if you can say, oh, Ryan, you don't need to do the setback thing. I already watched the video.